Hey guys, welcome back. It is episode 11 of 5 Random Airports and Airfields. This week we're going to be taking a trip to South America and we're going to check out some locations pretty much all over the place, but some really good locations in Peru. First up, we're going to be taking a look at Huanacampa. Now, I found this one totally kind of by accident, and I found this really obscure article about an abandoned airfield near the town or village of Huanacampa. And what interested me in this one was that this was built clear back in 1920 and actually operated up through World War II. Now, this was not a military base by any means. This was a little airstrip built to service the surrounding mines. And you can see the mine that I'm talking about, the remains, is right up there on the top of that hill. Now, in the article, it says that the only thing left of the airfield is what looks kind of like an airstrip and a statue of an airplane marking where the airstrip used to be, or the entrance to the airstrip used to be. I don't really see anything like that in the terrain textures except for the airstrip itself. Now, this is also a really hard location to find. Now, Flight Simulator has it as Chihuahua. I'm gonna butcher this. I said it just a few seconds ago. Chihuahua, and it has the runway listed as 2,954 feet of grass. But according to the article that I read, this is actually the town of Huanacampa. And I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but this is the village here. That is the airstrip. Now, initially when I looked this up, if you separate the word Huanacampa, there is a Mayan rune that comes up with that name, and it's like at 16,000 feet in elevation. And Flight Simulator actually does show the remnants of, you can make it out in the terrain textures of what's there, but that was not the correct location. This is the location I was looking for, and Huanacampa is one big word for this village. But here you can make out what used to be a structure here of some kind. And like I was saying, this runway was built in 1920. In the article that I read, that they actually produced gold and other minerals from the surrounding mines through the war. After World War II, all of this shut down. And it's a really interesting area to fly around too. And there are mines all over the place in these mountains. So it's kind of interesting to see some of it, but it's also kind of sad. You can also see the X here across the end of the runway. And then there's what appears to be a soccer field of some kind. Soccer field there. But you can still fly in and out of this airstrip if you want to. And like I said, Flight Simulator sees it as S2EP. Go up and take a look at the mines. So I'm assuming that this would have been the mines that were supported by the airport. There's clearly a looks like there's runoff from the mines. Yeah, the roads run down that way and around the valley, but to get to the airport, that's how you do it. There's the road. Here comes up along around this mountain and up along through this village, down through here, and then back up through the hills. It's pretty interesting. From what I read, they don't mine here anymore. But if you go out and take off and go out over that towards that general direction, there is a very large mining operation over there. So it's worth checking out. It's a very interesting location. I had a lot of fun. I spent a lot of hours looking at this one and trying to find it by location. One person actually made a video of this entire area and interviewed locals about this existing abandoned airstrip. So it's pretty fascinating. Alright, let's go ahead and jump on to the next one. Okay, so next up is going to be El Palomar Airport in Buenos Aires. This is going to be SADP, and at this particular airfield, now I did get extra scenery for this, so if you go to flightsim.to and you download, just look up SADP and you should be able to find the file by RWI13AR, and you can just dump this into your community folder, and it adds quite a bit to this location. Now, what makes this location interesting is that it was built in 1912, and it is still in use today. And it was originally built in 1912 to be an Army aviation school for the then future military. Just ignore my vans parked in front of the terminal. Somebody had asked me on a post how I do the drone thing, and I just usually launch my flight like here. I just dump the airplane, put it on the tarmac, and just leave it unstarted so you don't have to listen to it. And then I just switch to the showcase mode, which is the drone camera, and move around the airport. That's how I do it. So not a lot to look at here, not a lot to see. It is a big airport, but I just found it interesting because of its history. And check out the texture of the runway. Isn't that cool? It's almost kind of like what you would see in old Soviet, or yeah, some of the old European runways. And I'm sure there's probably a little more history to this than what I found, but I've been having some problems with Flight Simulator, and I just want to get this video done, but I can't seem to keep Flight Simulator from crashing to desktop or doing what it wants to. It just doesn't want to work. So I'm hoping the next update fixes some of these problems that I've been having. But ever since the last update, some of these problems have been prevalent for me. So the runway itself is 6,935 foot runway. Alright, now if you don't have that scenery file, yours is of course going to look different than mine. I do not know what the default one looks like. So if you're interested in checking this one out, make sure you check out that particular scenery file. Alright, so the next one is going to be SASD, and this is going to be Lago Noel Huapi Airport. This, I guess, is in San Carlos de Bariloche, and it has one runway that is 2,650 feet and another one that is 3,464 feet of dirt. Now this one caught my eye because it is listed as an aerodrome. And it has been around for a number of years. And it's right along this beautiful lake. And there's just kind of the scenery's really interesting here. And it's kind of an interesting place to fly. But as you can see, they got like a little racetrack here at one end of the runway. And that it's labeled as an aerodrome rather than an airport would tell you that it has been around for some years. This was probably some makeshift base at some point, but I could be wrong. There is not a lot of information about some of these places, and they're really kind of difficult to research. Here you got some outbuildings with an airplane park next to the building. So that would probably be the main FBO or whatever you would call it there. But it's all dirt. Alright, so next up is going to be Howard Air Force Base. Howard Air Force Base existed here from 1942 to 1999. The United States military shut down the airport as of 1999, and it was turned over to Panama, and it is now called Panama Pacifico International. But if you look hard enough, you can still see remnants of the actual base. So let's just take a look here, okay? The runway itself is 8,507 feet. Alright, so as you're kind of traversing around the outskirts of the airport here, you'll see like some of these areas where it looks kind of almost run down, like that's that could be an abandoned building right there. And I would venture to guess that's probably would have been all part of the military base, as was this area, I'm guessing. That's a total guess. I did not go look at the airport on Google Earth. I just kind of looked at I just kind of looked it up on Wiki and looked at some other sources on the internet to see what I could see. But over here is where it kind of gets interesting, because to me that looks like that could have been like a housing unit for the military. I could be totally wrong about that, but that all looks like a part of a base to me. And you have a lot of area like out over here. There's a lot of structures out over here, and like this one road is connected directly to the airport. And again, it has kind of rundown structures embedded in the textures. Flight Simulator does a pretty fair job at placing buildings, but I wish it could distinguish between like abandoned versus utilized buildings. But see, like over here, these look military to me. Those structures look military. So, I mean, this would have had a pretty large footprint back in the day. And then you have these parking areas over here, which are generally for military aircraft. So that is going to be MPPA. I did not find any extra scenery for this airport, so it is strictly default. And I was kind of surprised at that, given that it's an international airport. But we're going to go ahead and jump on to the next one, I think. We've seen what we've come to look at. So that's going to do it. Beautiful location, though. I believe a Navy ship over there, and then off in the distance that would be Panama City, and I believe the carrier sitting out over there from the Miltech package. Alright, well, let's go ahead and check out the next one, shall we? Alright, and lastly we have Captain Montez Airport. This is going to be SPYL, And this was built in World War II by the United States. So this was at one point a military base used during World War II. So I also did find some extra scenery for this over at flightsim.to. Just look up SPYL, and you're looking for the file by a name of the guy named George Chin. And this adds quite a bit to the actual airport. So if you're going to check this out, I definitely recommend getting his scenery file. Looks like he's reworked all the terminal buildings, added in the fire department, giving it a little more realistic look. Pretty small airport. Talara, Captain FAP Victor Montez. So when you're looking at this, the first thing I noticed was some of the, like here, look at what could have been another runway. And then they just built the road over the top of it. I mean, look at that. Check that out. That's cool. I can't really tell what they are or what kind of planes they are, but it looks like they're derelict planes. And then you've got another structure over here. And that would be abandoned. What I find interesting is that it's showing, okay, so none of this is being used, none of these taxiways over on this side of the airport. So it's all X'd out. And you got your old style textures there again for the runway. And then that, what I would assume, is the abandoned base itself. Yeah, and there's the entrance to the base with an airplane on display as you come in. How cool is that? So that would have been the actual military base right there. That's impressive that so much of it is still standing. Now, I'm not really sure who ended up using this after the war, but I'm sure they made good use of it. What I'm looking at though is what kind of plane is that? I guess the quickest and easiest thing would be to go look on Google and Google Earth and see. Then you could actually identify them. That's pretty impressive, and that there's so much of it left. So the runway itself is 8,071 feet of asphalt. Now, from what I could find and looking, most of the military history reflects that of what was done during World War II. Now, I'm assuming that the Peruvian Air Force probably utilized this as as a base of operations at some point as well, and that would account for the aircraft that are still parked here. They look abandoned. I did look it up on Google, and the pictures are really no better. So it's really quite fascinating, actually. I think I looked this one up originally on Google Earth, and it looked totally abandoned to me. But this part of it is apparently not, and is an international airport. So I think that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.